There is one thing that does not get spoke about nearly enough when you're trying to build your personal brand on social media with content and all that stuff. We get sold this belief that we have to focus on pleasing the algorithm, we have to do X, Y, and Z to make sure the algorithm pushes our content, we have to make sure we've got this kind of a hook, we have to make sure we have to do consistency and all this stuff. But nobody's talking about actually getting out there and meeting people. I've seen this with my clients. If you can get out there and speak to one new person every single week, in a year, your business will be totally different. It will have been so worth it. And this isn't just vague relationships. This is actually building relationships that there's two people working together. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Jay and I help coaches that are struggling to grow their personal brand, transform that so that they aren't bogged down with sales calls and they have actually got the time to enjoy their life, as well as becoming the go-to in their industry. So for me to really do this video justice, I need to take you back to around 2017. And this is kind of when I was starting to get into the habit of building relationships as a way to grow my brand. And at that time, I was working with the agency and doing freelance marketing, but I was also trying to build my personal brand. I had a blog at the time and I was starting to get my name out there, and I knew that the algorithms would take their time, especially when you were focusing on a blog, which was mostly getting powered by Google. Google back then was a little bit easier than it is today, but back then I was working on Google, so I knew it was going to take me a little bit of time, and I knew that I wanted to make it a little bit faster. So what I did is I was starting to make relationships with other bloggers that were in my space that I would be able to help them grow, and they would in return help me grow. I started to build relationships. Now, I didn't go into these relationships with a, like, gimme, this is what I want, can you give me exposure, can we work together, can you buy my service and I'll buy yours, anything like that. I went in there genuine, I was being curious, and I was like, oh, how long have you been doing this? And building a relationship, starting to make that conversation and make that connection with this human being. And it's really thanks to these relationships that's helped me grow my brand and grow my business, because it's helped me get more credible, because it's helped me get onto blogs like Content Marketing Institute, MSN News, Google News, all that sort of stuff. It's helped me get on these, which makes me more credible, and it also brings me more exposure. And I couldn't have done that on my own, because what happens is when you get to know people and they start to help you, they might say, oh, I've got a connection at such and such, or why don't you do this? They'll give you tips and help you get on podcasts and do all the other stuff. So as much as you're thinking about this as a tactic to get exposure, think about it as well from credibility. Because if you're on a podcast of somebody who's further along in their journey, then their audience is going to think, well, if this person trusts them, then we should trust them and we'll go and check out what they're doing. It also means that when people are on your blog or on your YouTube channel or all that, and you've got these, you'll see people, they put the logos where they've been featured and stuff like that. It gives them credibility. It gives them social proof. When you're first getting started and the algorithms aren't giving you that love that you need, then these things are important. These are the things that the more work you do in this front can actually make things a little bit quicker. So if you're like, Jay, I want to start this, how do I start? Then the first step is to start to get noticed by other people in your niche. Now, the best way to do that is to go onto YouTube channels, go onto Instagram accounts, go onto TikToks, and starting a conversation. You can do that in the comments, you can do that in DMs, you can do that wherever you're comfortable. I would say comments are great because it lets other people know that you're actually just talking like a general comment. The only thing I would say with regards to comments is don't just go on there and go, great post, that was awesome, I loved that. Yeah, go on there and actually leave a thoughtful comment that inspires a conversation. Social media is meant to be social, and the amount of times I go on and I scroll through the comments and it's just great post, this, that, fire emoji or whatever, and you're like, that is a missed opportunity if you're trying to grow your brand. Like, because that person might not notice you today, they might not even not notice you tomorrow, they might not even notice you in a week. But eventually, if you start showing up in their comments and you're talking and they're starting to create a relationship, they'll start to remember your name. They'll start to remember seeing your face. He leaves a decent comment. Then they might start to reply. And then that's how that connection starts. So I think engaging with other content is a great way to start to get you noticed by these people. Also, when you're doing that, you're getting noticed by their audience as well, which can bring a little bit of throughfall to you, bring a little bit of traffic to you as well. So that is a good thing. Just don't go out there and spam, because again, you're wanting to start a relationship with these people. You don't want to go out there and think, I'm just out here for myself, I'm just doing this because I have to grow my brand. And yes, I know it's not the most sexiest that's going to make things happen, and it involves a little bit of work, but it's this stuff here where you're forming these genuine relationships and you're forming these genuine connections that are going to serve you well. And I will say that what I've noticed, the people that I made relationships with back in 2010, these are the people that are still around in my circle today that still support me. Yeah, so it's really doing this work when you are a little bit quieter, when you are getting started and the algorithms aren't giving you that much love, that really does serve you well in the long run. Now, once you have started getting noticed, and once you have started, you're starting to get replies from the accounts and stuff like that, then you can maybe take it a little bit step further. And that's where you take the conversation into the DMs, or take that conversation onto email, or something a bit more personal than a social media post or a YouTube video. And again, don't go out there with, right, now that they've noticed me, I can pitch them. No, you go out there with, right, now that they've noticed me, how can I take this relationship to the next level where they're actually starting to see me and starting to enjoy my company, and then you can start to build that relationship. So go out there, and that might involve that you have to do a little bit of work for them. That means that you might have to add a few of their posts to your social scheduler so that they can see that you're now posting their content, which is giving them more exposure. Be that person that goes out there with a, like, right, what do these people want? They want exposure. How can I help? I can give them that. I've got a platform. Might not give them that much, but they'll be happy. They'll see that I'm trying to support them. And do that. And then just keep on following up with that conversation, whether that be in comments, whether that be in email, whether that be in DM. I've even seen me going as far as like, oh, this person, like, I'm going to design a graphic for this person because I think that would really help them. You send them the graphic, you say, look, this might help, might not. Use it if you want, use it if you don't. I just wanted to give you give you something to help. If it doesn't, that's absolutely fine. But the fact that you took that extra step and went out your way to help this person, they just start to, their barriers start to come down, their walls will start to come down, and you will start to form a connection. And that, again, like I said at the start, when you've not got the same love from the algorithms, that kind of a relationship is brilliant. The next step is, once you're, like I said, with the social media posts, start sharing their content, start doing stuff, start sending them, like, send emails out to your list and all that. Once you've done the help and you're starting to get that free-flowing conversation, invite them onto your platform as a guest. I still do this. Like a few weeks ago, I had a Ryan Biddulph, who I've known for 15 years. And I said, look, why don't you come onto my platform and tell your story of what you're up to? Because we've not had you on for a while, and this is a new platform now, so than where it was before. So I'd love to have you back on. And he was like, awesome, yeah, let's do it. Now, from that one interaction of him being on my podcast, I got a backlink to my blog. I got that post was shared with his audience, and I got to email my list about it. So there was all this stuff going on in the background that was helping me grow this post, and it's help that I would not have had. Like, the backlink alone was good, because, like, if you know anything about search engine optimization, backlinks are like people saying, we really like this content, yeah? So the fact that we've got a backlink from a blog that's a lot more established than mine, then that's really, really good. And I wouldn't have got that if I didn't have that relationship with Ryan over the last 15 years. Now, I'm not saying that you need to, like, you're not going to get things like this for 15 years. Ryan has done a lot of stuff for me in the last 15 years, but that's the most recent. So bring these people onto your platform. Say, look, just on the heads up, are you free anytime soon that we can get a wee interview scheduled? I'd love to get your story put out on my platforms. I think you'd really help my audience. This is who my audience are. What do you think? Get their views, talk about it. And if I have never asked them to be on my platform and they've said no. Especially if you've done the steps up till now, most will be at that stage where they're like, of course, yeah, I could do anything, yeah, let's do it. Now, there are the bigger influencers, they might not come as easy, yeah? Again, if you can even get to that relationship stage with them, it might be a little bit harder to get somebody with a big, massive following, to get them onto your podcast or to get them onto your YouTube channel. If you're just going for accounts that are around the same level as you or a little bit higher, and then just grow that ladder until you get to the bigger accounts. The other thing is some of the people that you meet, they might be connections for other people as well. So they can then say to you, oh, I know who'd be great for this podcast, your podcast, this person who might be a little bit bigger, but because you've got that connection with this person, they're like, you really need to go on this podcast. He's great, or she's great, or this. So that is something to focus on as well. Don't just think, I want that big influencer, so I'll just go after them and forget everybody else. No, because you're missing so many opportunities to get to that big influencer through a back door, because everybody will go the most direct route. But when you've made a connection with somebody who might not be the same level as them, but they've got a connection to that person, that could just shortcut the whole time to get that big influencer onto your platform. I see a lot of people where they take that step and they get that far where they've now had the person on and then they just ghost them. That's not the right step. That's like getting a few days and you're ready to start to say, right, is this a thing? And then you detach from that relationship. That is basically what you're doing once they've been on your platform or once they've given you something. So you want to keep that relationship going. Keep sharing their content, keep doing this stuff. And there are a lot of tools out there where you can add posts to your calendar and schedule it out for maybe 3 to 6 months. There's tools out there. I'm going to do a video soon on the tool that I use that does everything that I need in my business. So that's coming soon. But there are tools out there that can do this very, very easily. And it means that you're not showing up every day sharing their content. You know that that's going out and sharing a specific post for the next 6 months, which they'll be grateful for, because it's that extra push. It's a new audience for them. And the last thing that I would say when it comes to relationships is you want to build these connections before you need them. Because a lot of people, when they start to get burnt out with the algorithm or things are taking a bit longer and they're ready to pull the plug on content, that's when they're like, right, what if I start sharing it with people and I start using other strategies to get people to my content so that we're not relying on the algorithm? And that's when they start doing things. But then you're away at the start where you need to build that relationship. You need to grow and you need to not just go in there with a take attitude, go in there with a how can I help attitude for a little while until they start coming back and forth with you. Now, again, if you're going for an influencer that's a brand that's or a coach that's around the same level as you, they might be a little bit more open and you might get them onto your platform a little bit quicker, onto this, that, the next. It could happen a little bit quicker. And don't discount that because they don't have the same sized audience as somebody who's like massive, because that person, they could become massive in the next year and you're going with them for the ride. Or that person could have a really, really warm audience, a lot warmer than the bigger person, which is going to be more beneficial for you too. So don't discount anybody because of the size of their audience. Get out there, talk to them and build these connections before you need them. I seriously stand by, if you create one new connection every single week for the next year, your business will be totally different. You will have 52 new business connections that are all helping you and you're helping every single one of them. And I can guarantee that in a year, if you just focus on one person every single week, for a year, your business will be massively different. Plus, it won't be as lonely, because sometimes when you're a coach and you're working on your own and you're doing all this stuff on your own, you forget that there's actually other people out there. So it doesn't feel as lonely. You're like, I'm not alone doing this. I'm not the only one trying to do this, which is great for your mental health and great for your mindset going forward. So that's another benefit. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you're like, I want to put a little bit more focus on building my personal brand and doing it the right way, then go down. I've got a 5-day course that you can take down in my description. Go and check that out. Also, I do a weekly workshop every single week. Go and check that out as well. But that is it for this video. Have an awesome week. I'm so proud of you for showing up and being open-minded to take new steps to grow into this new brand. I'm so proud of you for that. And if nobody's told you today, I love you. You're awesome. You've got this. And I will see you in the next video.